period.
So what?
Good afternoon and welcome to another wonderful day of Rotary. And we were trying to keep the news out about the sale, but evidently somebody leaked it and we got a full house. But I'm glad to have each of you here, certainly are. And Jeremy, are you ready?
You did the invocation first?
Oh, that's what I want you to remind me of. This guy is sharp. Thanks very much. At this time, Jim Miller's going to give our invocation.
Open our eyes that
we may see, open our ears that we may hear, touch our hearts that we may love, clear our minds that we may think, strengthen our hands that we may work. Amen.
Thank you. Now Jeremy
Now,
says
we
he'll
have to
do
do
his thing. Thank you.
Well, welcome everybody. It's good to see a good group today. We have a few guests with us today. We have Laura Davis.
Loria?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome. Camilla Davis.
She went out to the salad bar. Salad bar.
So she's outside.
Yep.
Okay. And Carolyn, it's good to see you here today.
It's good to be here, gentlemen.
We also have Greg Spivey, who's the son of David Spivey, brother of Chad, good friend of mine. He's here today as well. All right, do we have any brags today? Anybody like to brag?
This isn't a brag, this is a regret. We have found it necessary to move back to Kentucky to be closer to family. So, you know, y'all have a pretty good idea how important Rotary is to me. And I thank you for taking me in, but regretfully I am going to have to be moving very quickly. 7th of December we close on the house. So
have you found a club there yet?
actually I have. The realtor that I was dealing with down there is a Rotarian,
Oh,
and she said she would sponsor me. And she says they do an auction. This town's got like 2,500 people. They do a radio auction and raise $326,000 a year.
Wow.
And I'm not going to be putting in a lot of money into that auction. Get change, fine.
Yeah, we'll get you some change. Well, it's been great having you, and good luck with your move.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other
Every time
brags?
we've been at around the table, backpacking.
Yeah.
Rick's wife's been right there helping, and so,
Which, by the way, next Tuesday is the day that they're doing it, Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And my wife and I both have doctor's appointments, so we won't be there.
well, thank her too, and we will miss you. But certainly understood.
Peggy?
I'm bragging about how smart I was to move to North Carolina because my 17 nieces and nephews in St. Louis are all home on snow day today.
Terry?
I want to brag about the Temple team. And you know, like Sunday, whenever we went to the Super Bowl, the little soup tasting contest.
Shared abundance.
Yeah, share abundance. Yeah, share abundance. Yeah, better get that right. Or Joanne will kill me. Our second little queen in here, her little queen put on a really good show, and I will be sending out a little email attachment. So I'd like for everybody to look at it, so the numbers will go up on my YouTube site.
Thank you, Terry.
Yeah, Andy?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be back from the Albuquerque Balloon Festival, and while we were out there, it snowed in Phoenix and flooded in, snowed in Santa Fe and flooded in Phoenix. But we had a great time.
How many balloons were there?
Larry?
And how many balloons were at that festival?
Hundreds.
Hundreds? Okay.
My brag is that Sean Williams is back with us. Sean, could you tell us a little bit about what's happened over this last number of months, well, starting the beginning of the year, where you were traveling so much, and you had a little house issue and stuff like that?
No, a major house issue called Florence. Florence came through New Bern, which is where
have some property in Maysville, North Carolina, and unfortunately Florence liked my house a little better than I did. So we've been down there trying to get that back up for since Florence. Also a charter school, when you're doing something with the state always has a meeting here, meeting there, meeting everywhere. And so we're actually on our last leg of charter school opening July the 15th. Acquired the property, signed the purchase order just last week, preparing to close on it here in Sanford, over off with Industrial Drive. So it's a very exciting time. Just keep us in prayer, but I'm still a Rotarian, still love Rotary, and Larry's not gonna let me go nowhere, that's for sure. Glad to be back.
Jim?
Thursday, Mr. Spivey and Mr. Aiken and I went to Greensboro, and we were 3 of 22 people who were recognized at the Rotary Foundation dinner, and it's kind of was kind of a feather in Jonesboro Rotary's cap, because out of 49 clubs, 22, 3 of them, or the 15%, were Jonesboro Rotarians.
Thanks, Jim. Any other brags, Chad?
I'm gonna brag on David Smooth Spivey. I borrowed this $1 from him too, and he gave me 5 yesterday. But
Borrowed $1 so we can brag.
yeah, and borrowed 5 to get my car fixed. But he was killing the bass runs last night. We played a little event, and we never practiced, and I always throw in these random songs, and it's just doesn't matter what key I do him in, he kills it, and I'm happy to have him as a bass man in the band, and he's awesome.
Any other brags or announcements? Yvonne?
I'd like to make sure that everyone knows that if you make up somewhere, you need to let the secretary know, so that we can give you credit, because at the end, you're gonna say, well, I was there, or I did this, or so forth, but you need to let the secretary know so they can give you credit.
And I'll pay for this announcement too, because Yvonne reminded me. We have 4 special events coming up in the next few days. The first one is tomorrow night, and they're at the theater teching this show now. It's Mike Wiley's The Fire of Freedom. It is the world premiere of this show, and if you don't know Mike Wiley's work, this is the 10th time he's come to the temple. He does amazing job. He does audience participation. This is the story of the fight of African Americans during the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. He's a brilliant storyteller. He wrote he performed Blood Done Sign My Name, that some of you might have seen, but he has a whole repertoire. But this is his brand new show, and they are doing the world premiere tomorrow at the temple at 12:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Then Saturday night we have a Tony Bennett tribute happening. On Sunday we have a Beach Boys tribute happening, and on Tuesday we have the Embers doing their holiday show. So if you're busy, change your plans and come see me. Here's my dollar.
And also I want to introduce Camilla Davis, who you were outside when we introduced you before. This is Camilla, so welcome.
Thank you. Chris?
Can I make a quick announcement? I just want to just thank everybody for your participation in bell ringing. We've got a couple of days. Salvation Army, we're gearing up. It's that time of the year again. You're going to see a lot of bell ringing going on around the community. And all the funds raised stay here to help the people that we're serving throughout the year. So we've got a couple of days, Monday, December 3rd, and Thursday, December 6th at Lowe's Foods. If you can get out and ring an hour or two, we'd really appreciate it. So I'm just going to pass it around, and if you got time, it'd be great. But we appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.
I did my first bell ringing last year and enjoyed it. It's amazing. A lot of people come by and want to talk and stuff like that. It's a fun time. I mean, if you stare at them hard enough, you can actually put a little pressure for them to put.
It's only enjoyable if it doesn't get too cold.
That's right, provided it doesn't get real cold. And another thing I found, I forget who it was, I think right after me, they came and they had a couple of little pretty girls, you know, I guess their daughters or granddaughters or something, and that really does the trick. So if you have some little pretty granddaughter, bring her and smile, let her ring the bell, you'll double the amount.
We love kids.
Ready, kid?
We love kids.
True story to add to that, and I didn't have no pretty girls or anything, but last year a person gave me a $20 bill. I thought, whoa, now that's somebody really stepping up to the plate there. Or they didn't have change, I don't know, but.
You didn't offer any change.
I did it all by myself.
You didn't offer any
Of course, we
change.
got one more announcement over here.
Oh,
Carol
yes,
has
ma'am.
announcements.
Hey, just a reminder that we will be having our first annual Christmas Gala on December 8th. I am my sister's keeper, thank you. We'll be having the first annual Christmas Gala on December 8th. It's going to be at the Elks Lodge. Really, man? Is on December 8th from 7 to 10 at the Elks Lodge on the corner of Carthage and Wicker. I have tickets. The tickets are $75 per person, $100 for couples. And we have sponsorship available.
Okay. Any other announcements? Yeah, I'm certainly glad to have this large crowd up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a reminder to all the new members, and Rick, you can come too, even though you're moving. All the new members are gathering at 11 o'clock prior to our meeting on the 29th for our new member orientation. All four that are brand new members to Rotary have confirmed that they're coming. And anybody that's rejoined Rotary within this last 6 months or so is welcome to come. And Rick, based on your video that we saw last week, you need to be there to talk about what Rotary means.
Okay.
That was marvelous. It was one of the best videos we've ever had.
Any, Larry?
I could probably do more.
Oh, that's good.
Dan, ring the bell.
That's true. Thank you, Jim. I lost my train of thought there. We will be, of course, skipping next week. I know all of you will be home, hopefully enjoying your families and sharing some time around the Thanksgiving table. We will meet again on the 29th, and Jim Miller is going to talk with us on the shelter box program, which is a wonderful thing. We have our Christmas, right now we're planning our Christmas social for Thursday, December 13th. That'll take the place of the Thursday meeting here. So Thursday, December 13th will be our Christmas social, Christmas dinner. And of course, on December 27th, which is the Thursday between Christmas and New Year's, we will not be having a meeting then, but the rest of the time we'll be meeting. And today, what we're going to do, I asked actually Larry and David and Jim have volunteered to talk about something that's a very important part of the Rotary organization, and that's the Rotary Foundation. And of course, part of our dues, goes to that each year. And so it's something that's important to all of us. And so who want to start off? You want to start off, Dave? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that applause.
Just ask for it.
Okay. Actually, myself and I think Larry's going to talk a little bit about a global grant that recently got completed that our club was part of. And Jim's going to touch on a few things too. But November is Foundation Month in Rotary. So part of our Gold Club requirement is to have a program on the foundation in the month of November. So that's what we're going to do today. But a lot of you, I'm preaching to the choir because a lot of you are just very familiar with the foundation, but a lot of newer members aren't that familiar. So I'm going to just kind of give you a brief overview of it. And even some of the newer members may not know this, but I'll just tell you some facts. Rotary was established in, anybody want to say the year? Remember the year?
1966, 1907.
1905. Paul Harris lived in Chicago. He had moved there, didn't know a lot of people, and he came up with the idea to a way to make some friends basically, and to learn about other people's business. He invited 3 friends to lunch, and they all had a different business. So they went to lunch, they had a good time, and then they decided, well, the next meeting we'll go to another guy's business, and then you learn about his business. So that's how actually the spark that started Rotary. And it was only a couple of years, there were already over 1,000 Rotary clubs. And today, there are over 32,000 Rotary clubs in the world. There's over 1.2 million Rotarians in the world. And collectively, funds that we contribute through our dues goes to the Rotary Foundation, which is in Chicago. And for our club, it's easy for everybody to make a contribution because it's built into your dues. The $150 a quarter that we pay, I think that's what it is. It's going to be a year. But I mean, our quarterly dues, $25 every quarter is allocated for the Rotary Foundation. So that correlates to $100 a year. Everybody in here contributes to the foundation just by paying your dues to the club. And just a couple of weeks ago, Neil, who was our treasurer, mailed a check for $2,900 to the Rotary Foundation. So in the next week, or for sure in the next month, you'll be getting a receipt in the mail, and you may think, well, what is this for? But it's a receipt for the contribution which you made in your name to the Rotary Foundation.
You know,
Which is tax deductible.
this is a perfect time, because we're talking about the sustaining value. This is a perfect time to ask Carolyn to come up and join our club, because that $100 that you put in to join goes to the foundation. That's part of funding all these things that we're going to be talking about. So could you come up and formally be inducted into our Rotary Club?
Now, I think it's responsible for Terry.
Terry's the sponsor.
Terry will come up also.
Okay.
So I was told by David that there's gonna be music and you guys need to move this stuff out since I'm gonna do the chicken dance.
Is that right? You're not supposed to tell her that stuff ahead of time. Anyway, everyone, this is Carolyn Johnson. Carolyn spelled with a K, not a C.
That's right.
My wife is Carolyn with a C. And Terry asked you to come to a meeting, and you liked what you saw and decided you wanted to join and participate. So go ahead, Terry.
And like sometimes I need some spirit to push me. So I called my good friend John. John, my spirit said, yeah, do it. So Carolyn, you're surrounded by two good spirits from John and I.
So anyway, there's some information in here about Rotary that you can read on your own, and maybe, hopefully, today's program you'll learn a few things, and you'll learn a few things every time you come, and it's not that complicated. Basically, what Rotarians do, we just try to do good in the world. That's in a very short summation, that's what we try to do. You also have a Rotary pin, which you can wear Pride, here is your membership certificate.
Thank you.
And this is your name badge. We already got you a name badge, magnetic.
Thank you, Yvonne.
And it will be, I don't know if there's a number assigned yet, but the box back there where Yvonne is, you can put that in at the end of every meeting. And let's just say you're number 22. You just slide it in slot 22 so you know where to look next time you come. So there's your badge.
And every new member has to carry the four-way test around.
Four-way test. This is really, if everybody follows the four-way test, which we recite at the end of every meeting, we recite it, you can't go wrong in your personal life or your business life or your family life. You can't go wrong if you follow four-way test. So that's just how you might want to put that on your office wall or something like that.
Back, you know.
But would you want to just briefly tell the club a little bit about yourself? Also, a Rotary T-shirt. And we have a service project, packing backpack pal lunches or something. Everybody wears their T-shirt while we're working. So just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
My name is Carolyn Johnson. Carolyn spelled with a K. It's nice to be here. I actually moved to Sanford 4 years ago from Cary, Durham area, but moved to North Carolina about 11 years ago from Tampa, Florida. And one of the things that I found that was amazing here in Sanford and looking at the chamber and coming to hear what you guys were presenting for the last couple of weeks, that you really are engaged in the community. You want to see the community do better. And I've been invited to a whole lot of stuff. And I'm just, I guess, taken aback at seeing the love and the human care that's being given to different organizations and to people in the community. We really care about the downtown Sanford area, not just downtown, but all over Sanford. And so I'm just really thankful to be a part of an organization that cares about the people.
All right. Well, thank you,
Carolyn, you'll do a program for us in the next month or two?
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the meeting, if you wouldn't mind, just position yourself around the door and everybody can say hi and shake your hand on the way out. That would be great. Okay, back to the foundation. I'm going to try to hurry because I think we're going to run out of time if we don't get on the ball. So anyway, Rotary was established in 1905. It took off, it slowly started growing. Now Rotary is in, I think it's over 140 countries in the world have Rotary. So Rotary is worldwide. So Rotary got started in 1917, Arch Klump had become the Rotary International president. And he came up with the idea to establish a foundation, Rotary Foundation. So 101 years ago, the Rotary Foundation was actually established. And the first contribution, the Rotary Club of Kansas City in 1917 contributed $26.50 to the Rotary Foundation. So that was the very first donation. Now, if you take into account all the polio now, polio plus funds that's been donated, all of the contributions that have gone to the foundation over these 101 years, it totals over $4 billion. So that from $26.50 from that first donation, it's now billions of dollars that have been generated. A few other things. The very first foundation payment or donation was to the Crippled Children's Association. And I don't have the exact date. I think it was in the 1930s. But that was actually the first grant that was submitted. In 1947, Paul Harris passed away, and part of his last wishes was he asked Rotarians to donate, make contributions to the foundation, and that really got the foundation going. In 1947, $1.3 million was collected, basically as a memorial to Paul Harris. So that's what really got the foundation moving. In 1985, the Polio Plus program got off the ground, and we're at the foundation meeting banquet we went to last week. It was announced, was it 22 cases? 27 cases of polio have been diagnosed in the entire world. Actually, there's only 3 countries now, I think, where polio has had cases this year. When I was a child, I had a classmate in elementary school here in Sanford who had polio. My grandfather, Spivey, had polio. He was fortunate. It was, I guess, it comes in real strong cases or not so strong cases, but he always walked with a limp, and that's because he had polio, but he overcame it. But a lot of children completely paralyzed because of polio. So that is one of Rotary's really main focus right now is to eradicate polio from the world, just wipe it off the map. And you know, we were down, there's more cases this year than last year. I think there were maybe in the teens last year, but we're that close to eliminating polio completely from the world. And I think if it goes, if we have a year, or not if, but when we have a year where there's no cases diagnosed, I think there's a 3-year waiting period, and then it's officially, that virus is gone. So.
And then we hear about Bill Gates promising another 200 million.
Yeah. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they have partnered with Rotary, and they match us 2-to-1 on any contribution that you make to the Polio Plus Fund. Now, our club last year, we sent, was it about almost $3,000 to Polio Plus.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is what we collect, vans going around selling tickets.
Little bit by
These
little
dollars,
bit.
you know, every meeting, what money we make off this goes to the fund. Plus, we can designate another contribution from our budget if we so choose. Anyway, I'm going to kind of turn it over to Larry now. Well, I'm going to say one more thing. Excuse me, Larry.
Go ahead.
The Rotary Foundation now awards global grants, which a global grant has to be at least $30,000 or above, or district grants. We always work on a district grant here locally every year. You know, the Backpack Pals could be a district grant. And I still want to say Stop Hunger Now. It's a different name. Rotarians Against Hunger.
Right.
But we do that every March over at the fairgrounds, where we pack something like 25,000 meals that goes to Stop Hunger. So Larry's going to talk about a global grant that we really initiated and
one of the
in Mexico City.
key things that we do through the foundation is the global grants, and of course we just talked about the district grants, but it's a huge outreach that Rotarians do all over the world. And our club got very involved in this about 2004 or something like that. And we decided that we wanted to get really close to at least one club or one district and be able to communicate and travel back and forth to get to know these folks. Because we've done some grants before. We did a grant in India, we had a couple of other grants, but it's pretty hard to stay in touch with these folks when you're dealing with that much distance. So we decided to work with a club in Mexico City, just outside of Mexico City, and it started with this relatively small grant. It was a $10,000 grant for medical supplies. Well, that club, which is Los Torres Satellite Club in District 4170, and maybe some of you could tell me how many grants, both district grants and global, matching grants and global grants, we've done with that club. Let me hear some numbers, guesses.
4.
5, what, 4?
4.
More?
12.
12? More?
17.
More?
40.
Go ahead, tell us.
Okay. We've done 27.
Wow.
27 grants. And we brought clean water, we brought books, we brought medical supplies, and the most recent one that we are really proud of, and it's taken 3 years to accomplish, and we got the final report last month of a $500,000 water project just west of Mexico City. It's about three hours west of Mexico City, in the very rural area of the mountains, and fresh water is now flowing to a couple thousand homes, which without the Rotary Foundation. And it really started with a club in Mexico saying that we've worked with for so much, we need help. What would you do? So we became the international sponsors for this, and wound up with lots of different clubs around the world joining us to finish that grant. And so let's give ourselves but without an organization like, yes, Yvonne?
Les Toros in Mexico, that club is our sister city too.
They're our sister city club. When under Yvonne's presidency, we set up a sister city relationship with them, and that's evolved into what's going to be a sister cities relationship with Atsapan, which is in the area where our club is located down there, or the Las Torres Club is located, and Sanford. So it's progressed to the point that now municipalities have come together to work, and in the spring, there's a delegation coming from Mexico that'll be coming up to start the Sister City program. So this is really an amazing thing that without the Rotary connections, it would never happen. We just wouldn't be able to put this kind of money together that we put together, and the trips that we make to go see and participate. The Rise Against Hunger, you have no idea how many meals that it keeps people alive. Again, without the foundation, it just wouldn't happen. And Jim's going to expand a little bit further on some of the things the foundation does.
Give him the hook. Thank you, Mr. Aiken. One of the things that I wanted to share with you is the quality of the foundation. You know, it's like, wow, you know, it's a big group, it's a big fund, and it does a lot of stuff. But the people who basically evaluate charities, who evaluate foundations, have basically come to the conclusion that the Rotary Foundation, the Worldwide Rotary Foundation, is the #1 benevolent charity in the world. Not almost, not very good. And if you want to get some specifics, if you know anything about Charity Navigator, go online to Charity Navigator, and they will give you the specifics. The specifics are that less than 10% of all the money that is contributed each year goes into management of the fund. That there's a higher percentage of the money that actually goes to do what Rotary Foundation intends to do than any other charity, benevolent organization in the world. Let me share a couple of things with you. You can, as an individual, you can go online and just commit at your death. It'd be nice if you had somebody that would write the check, but you can just go online and commit to give $1,000. That makes you a Bequest Society member in the Rotary Foundation. Very simple. You can do it online, whatever. The other item is that you can make a donation of $10,000 or more as a benefactor. And that you can do with your financial advisor, whatever you've got set up, and you can just, if you got a 401k somewhere, you've got a file somewhere, you can just say, okay, upon my death, I would like to have a minimum of $10,000 presented. The $100 we give each year for each of you allows you to earn, after you've given $1,000, you become a member of the Paul Harris Society. That's kind of like, that is the first level of recognition from the foundation. If you give $1,000 a year, you can do that by going online. Once again, the magic of the computer. You can go online and you can make a monthly donation of $85 a month, and that will get you to that sustaining, that Paul Harris Fellowship, that Paul Harris Society. And I'm very proud of my two associates and myself, who have basically been part of the society for several years, and we both finally made, all three of us made the $10,000 level. So we made the beginner level of a major donor. And I don't think we're ever going to make the Arch Clump Society.
Arch Clump is $250,000.
And
Now David Morris might.
yeah, right. And one last thing that I do, and it's something that we shared, that the four-way test is really kind of a magical thing. When my and I hope I don't get all weepy again. But when my grandchildren reach 13, I make them a Paul Harris Fellow, and I give them a coin with the four-way test.
One of the things that you mentioned, the foundation has such big plans to just continue the work, and so they spread a message out last spring, I guess it was, to all the districts, saying that we know this is a tough thing for you, but we want you to reach well beyond where you've been giving up to this point, because we're limited in the work that we can do around the world, whether it's polio or water or whatever, without the funds that come in through the foundation. So they came back, and our district said, we're going to guarantee that we'll raise, within individuals within District 7690, $1 million, David. And at the foundation dinner, they announced that we are already at $2.5 million. And it was just silence, like, holy cow. You talk about Rotarians responding. and they're probably gonna exceed 3 million in that fund this year.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Great attendance today. I hope you'll all come back. But I want to thank Carolyn for being here. We're glad to have you as a new member. And thank these three for this program today. Also, I want to thank Larry and John filled in for me last 2 weeks. I was in Florida, and Carolyn, you know, in Tampa, they're still wearing shorts.
I know.
Little business, a little golf, but thank you very much. And at this time, Van.
Yes, sir. Today we raised $70 to the Polio Plus campaign.
Hold on just a minute.
Yeah, Jim want to say something about the tickets.
Hi, I asked Jim to tell the new members about the pots of
Pots of
gold
gold.
and how it works.
You have a minute afterwards, and you can talk to this fellow right here in the green. He knows pots of gold up and back and forth. Go ahead, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chad, could you draw a winning ticket for us today?
Chad, pull my number.
Terry's got a considerable contribution in it today, let me tell
The
you.
number is, the last three are 48828.
For real?
Not me.
8862.
Bob George.
All right, Joyce! All right.
And with that winning ticket goes the opportunity to lead us in the four-way test, and then also the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could stand, please.
Four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First.
Will there be a goodwill and better friendships? Will be beneficial to all concerned? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Rick, we'll miss you.